Good afternoon or good night. Maybe you're joining me before bed, and if you are joining me before bed or even on your lunchtime, I want you to know that that means a lot to me. My name is Isaac, aka Prevail. Um, I'm trying to be more active on this channel. So today we have a gameplay versus Ghostface, but the main thing I want to talk about in today's video is actually a story time. So when I was like, disclaimer, this event took place over 14 years ago, and so I will be describing an illegal activity, but due to the laws in the U.S., there is something called a statute of limitations, which is 5 years on most illegal things. So, anyways, when I was about 17, maybe 18 years old, I don't remember exactly how old I was, but me and like five friends. I mean, there's a local amusement park, and I'll pop up a picture of a local amusement park. I'll pop up some pictures throughout the video, but there was a local amusement park that we had all gone to as kids and was still up and operational at this time. And me and some friends, there's in my city, I kind of live in a relatively small town. I would say medium-sized town, a population of about 300,000, maybe 350K. So not a huge city, but also not a tiny city. So anyways, we have this local amusement park, and you could think of all the classics like roller coasters, gigantic water slides, tons of the little carnival games and the small roller coasters for kids. You know what I mean. So, anyways, and this place also had like a few water, activities. I remember it used to have like a water log slide thing, or like a thing like I guess you would sit on a log and it would take you down like this trail with like giant waves and drops and stuff like that. So, anyways, me and like five friends one day came up with the idea to sneak into this place because we kind of realized, like, hey, it's only guarded by a small chain link fence. The fence height is like 5.5 feet tall, and there's no barbed wire on top of it. I mean, maybe let's say it was 6 feet tall, a 6 feet tall chain link fence. And obviously, we're not going to hop it, but we investigate the area for a couple days and we realized that there's one side with or one of like kind of the deserted sides, like not so open, not in the so obvious sides. There was a small like hole in the fence where kind of people have forced their way through. So on one weekend night, like let's say like a Friday or Saturday, well, we'd kind of pre-plan this too. Like, like I said, those giant water slides, they kind of had some curves to them and some like 360s in the slide. And we had taken water, I'm sorry, we had taken skateboards. And since I was still young, a late teenager, I had still had these old school mini short skateboards. Like imagine a skateboard, but like a foot shorter and a lot thicker. So it was like perfect, like if you wanted to sit down on it and like ride down the slide. So that's what we're doing. I was like, yo, I have like two of these skateboards. I'm gonna bring them both, and then that's what we're gonna do. We're going to sneak in and ride these skateboards down these giant slides that they have. And when I say giant, I mean like 200 or 300 feet up in the sky is how big they were. Um, Unfortunately, they are taken down. I'll try to get some pictures of them. I'm not sure if I'll be able to. But yeah, so that's what we did. We snuck in. We made this giant climb. There's so many stairs that you have to climb up to get up there. And we rode the skateboards down there. We kind of took turns. And really good thing that we brought the skateboards because those slides are not meant to be slid down without water. Normally they have water that kind of assist you through or push you through the slide. But the skateboards really helped, replace the water, I guess. And we had a lot of fun. We took turns and brought the skateboards back up, and then after that, we were like, well, what else do we do? So we kind of like went walking around the complex, I'll say, and we're of course, everything's turned off, and none of the rides are working, and it's all pitch black, kind of eerie a little bit, not in hindsight. But I'm with a ton of friends, so we're not scared at all. But we are kind of mindful if they have security. We're not seeing any security people. We're not seeing any flashlights or anything like that. No cars in the parking lot. So, at least off memory, I don't think there was any cars in the parking lot. So, we were feeling like super safe. And while walking through the complex, one of my buddies noticed that they had red lasers coming out of the bottom of the Coke machines. Like the Coke vending machines had like little red trip lasers, and we realized that we assumed that's what they were. It was like red trip lasers, to where if you know accidentally walked past one of them, not noticing, that it would kind of set off an alarm and probably alert the property authorities. So we once my buddy realized them, we kind of took note. Well, I don't know if we realized them at first or not, but before, let's say before we hit the red lasers, we were walking around the complex, and we happened to find this huge like tub. The tub's that like a giant metal tub that I think is used for giving cows water. So it's about 6 feet long and like 4 feet deep. Maybe maybe 6 to 8 feet long and 4 feet deep. So it's a huge tub, and it's covered by a tarp. So we end up, of course, like the five or six of us, however many there were, we end up lifting up the tarp just to see what's underneath there, out of curiosity. We don't really remember this being there, from our childhood or from the previous times we've ever went there. And turns out underneath this tarp is surprisingly a crap ton of water balloons. This thing is absolutely filled to the brim with water balloons. I mean, I'm talking, there probably had to be 200, maybe 300 water balloons inside of this thing. And so we're shocked that we found these water balloons. And of course, what do? We go ahead and start having a huge water balloon fight between, like, the group of us. And we just have a blast. And for that goes on for like 10, maybe 20 minutes. We're throwing water balloons at each other. They happen to have a slingshot with like a target that I guess, in normal operation hours, you're supposed to like play a game and hit the target. So we kind of like, do that for fun for a little bit. And once we get the tub kind of like probably like only 20% full, we kind of, talk to each other, and we're like, hey, like, they're going to be so pissed in the morning. Like, day shift is going to be so pissed because, like, we're assuming, we're like, what if night shift's job is to fill this thing up with water balloons, and then day shift is going to come and see that it's like almost empty. So we're like, yeah, we should probably not, finish it out. And so, of course, we tarp it back. And I'm not sure if this is when we hit the red lights or not. But, anyways, while we're kind of walking around, one of my friends, I think he trips that red laser, and then he walks past it. And I think as he walks past it, I think the next dude realizes. And so we kind of like discuss it between ourselves, and we're like, yo, like, we think that's like a security laser or something like that. And so we all freak out and end up like, I think like 10 minutes later, if I'm not mistaken, I think a security guard showed up, or somebody with a flashlight. And man, we dipped, and we dipped fast. So yeah, random story time. Funny story. So I'm gonna tell you a part two. Well, actually, it's not necessarily part two, but in like my local like Facebook group, there was some dude we were talking about, or they were discussing this park in general, and this dude happened to this probably man in his like late 30s, mid 30s. I'm not sure. I don't know him, but anyways, he told a similar story that reminded me of my story. His story was his friend used to work at this amusement park back when they were, young adults or whatever. And let's see. So his friend worked there, and I guess one day his friend forgot his jacket, and so they were like, "Yo, like let's go back and let's go get our jacket." Or the friend was like, "Hey, come back with me to the park to get our jacket." So that's what they do. They go back to the park to, and I don't know why you would go back the same day to get your jacket. Like, why can't you just get it next shift? I don't know why, but they decided to go back and get this dude's jacket. And so when they got there, they realized like the whole park was closed, and they were like, they also noticed that the front gate was still open, like the main front door was still open. So of course, one of them being an employee, they just walked in, and the employee was like, "Yo, like, do you want to ride a ride by chance?" And the friend was like, "What do you mean? Like the park's closed?" He's like, "No, no, 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 no. Like I know how to turn it on, and like there's some air. Apparently, these rides work off like air compressors that work the brakes." And he was like, "Yeah, there." From according to this, or like looking at this gauge, there's still enough air to stop the ride. You know, if I start it, he's like, "So you go ahead and hop on, and I'm going to start it." And so that's sure enough, that's what they did. Um, and so the friend hopped on, and the other friend started it. And according to the story, it did start going, but a few minutes in, the employee tried to stop it, but realized there was not actually enough air in the system to stop the ride. Unfortunately, that commenter did not tell me the rest of the story, even though I asked him to. So, since he's still alive, I can only assume that eventually they stopped it somehow. Maybe they killed the power and just eventually let it stop. I know for sure that they did not get arrested that day, and he lived to tell the story, obviously. But yeah, something kind of different. I normally tell all types of stories on my main YouTube channel. I have told stories about me getting like punched in the face by a girl with the cast on. Crazy story. I've told stories about me, I wouldn't say accidentally, but like, kind of heat of the moment cheating on my then girlfriend. I think I can't remember what other stories, but yeah, pretty much any like wild stories throughout my life, I will tell you guys. Right here, we're just kind of looping a little bit, mainly just trying to catch distance, trying to hit all these obstacles. Um, I know he jump scared the hell out of me. Or like every time this guy one tapped me, like my body was like legit, like twitching. I think Ghostface is actually a lot of people say Ghostface is really weak. If players know how to counter him. Me, I know that you're supposed to like look at him, but I was trying to do that this game, but it didn't really work. And not only that, but he seemed to one tap me like a crab ton. I think this game I was mainly focused on trying to be like the best team player I could. When he was coming at me, I'm trying to like waste his time. That's obviously the main thing you're trying to do when you're playing Survivor and you get spotted or you're being chased by the killers. You want to try to run them for as long as possible. Let your teammates heal, do gens, whatever. I still have not played the new Jason update. I might play that tonight for sure. I'll get some Jason gameplay. I'll come back. I won't probably won't play as Jason unless you guys want to see that. If you do, comment play as Jason. But I might try to get some Survivor gameplay against Jason to try to figure him out because I never played the PTBs player test builds just because I'm on Epic. I buy all my games through Epic stores, and Epic doesn't have like the PTBs or like the demo versions of Dead by Daylight. It just has like the main game. Which honestly, I feel like the PTBs should be baked into the game, like how they do these like map How like the 2v8 mode is in the game, or like, hey, test out this certain map is in the game. Like I don't understand why they have the PTBs outside of the game. That doesn't make much sense to me, but whatever. Like they should just have it as a separate game mode, like testing Jason or whatever, or PTB. See, like I don't know how long it takes to expose this guy, but obviously it doesn't work. And you'll see that like at certain times, like I'll stop and try to look at him, like right there. Like I'm trying to, I don't know if expose him is the word, but you know what I mean. Where like you look at him and like his like power goes away, but it just never works for me. Sometimes it does accidentally. But I say Scream is or Ghostface. I always call him Scream, but this game has taught me that his name is not Scream. It is Ghostface. I always think he's a pretty tough killer to go against just because he runs at 4.6, at least I think so. He has the ability to sneak up on you, with the stealth. And so, like, you never quite feel safe doing gens. And then not only that, but he also has the ability to one tap. So he's always quite a hard opponent. Me personally, I'm actually not. When I found out Jason was coming out, like I was a little bit disappointed. And I know the general Dead by Daylight community has wanted Jason for a long time, but not me. I mean, it's okay. I'm glad that we're getting somebody. Um, I'm just all I'm saying is I wasn't like super duper like jaw drop that we're getting Jason. I mean, to be honest, he definitely so far seems like a problem because he, can has the throwing knives that are probably gonna hurt. I'm hoping it's not one throwing knife is one health state. That would suck. He has the ability to teleport, and I'm hoping he's forced to teleport to where like out of vision. You know what I mean? Like let's say he can't just teleport right in front of me. Like he has to teleport somewhere to where like he's out of my vision, because then he would just be like too OP. Like let's say he's chasing me and then he teleports like 1 foot in front of me. That would be insanely OP. But I'm hoping they have that fixed out. I haven't even seen gameplay of Jason, to be honest with you, just because I don't want to like ruin it for myself, and I also want to get like the live commentary of like my genuine reactions or whatever. What I was hoping they were gonna do was for the 10-year, anniversary. Is I was hoping that they would surprise drop It the Clown, because I honestly think It the Clown would be kind of cooler than Jason. And that when they dropped Jason without telling anybody, they also just that same day dropped It the Clown, and people were like jaw dropped. Now that would be a huge 10-year anniversary event. Um, yeah, that would be sick, and maybe like some cool survivor. I don't know who, but somebody. Well, anyways, I hope you enjoyed the story time. I know the video is a little bit different than what you're used to. I just wanted to maybe entertain you for a little while you're on your lunch break, while before bed, or whatever it is. Anyways, we didn't make it out. We died, but I tried my best to be a team player. GG's. Hope you had fun. Have a good day.